Oh god, how long has it been? Hey, welcome back to more Limbus Company. I'm SlayerMathis, and last time we started off the collab event, and this time we will be... Did I not do it on horror? Oh no, I did. We will be continuing on with it, but there's some stuff I'll have to get into in a bit. This hardly looks like a village. It's more like the ruins one, isn't it? It doesn't seem like they've done any proper upgrade to the place. Not in a while, at least. We're really here, living together. Strange buildings tell the stories of former prosperity from a bygone era. Our steps leave no footprints on the wet, muddy ground. On it, I see a rotting sign marked with the name Faro Muerto. Everywhere I look in this village, I see evidence of long, silent abandonment. I don't see this kind of abandoned-looking ruins off in the city either. Well, yeah, there's always something or someone out there willing to capitalize on that free real estate, be it a syndicate or a corporation, and fix it up. Better than this, at least. So where are the sinners? There's a clearing down there where... We're entrapped betwixt a twain of great ships, narrowing winds against our sail! Ooh. And that's when young Ishmael boomed, I command roast resident. Say no more. I didn't have to try to search for them. That unmistakably sonorous and familiar voice echoing triumphantly between the empty buildings. That's Don Quixote's voice when she's sharing her adventurous tales. There she was, standing atop a low podium like an actor on stage, regaling a group of people in rags with tales of our adventure like a traveling thespian. Answer, ye dogs! Oarsmen! 'Tis the Most High, Ishmael, the first mate of vessel Mephistopheles! Now we get... Stop, hold on. What do you think you're doing? Yo, Ishmael, unhand my mouth, for I was just about to regale them with the most fantastical tales of adventures in the great Manager Esquire! Verily, thou'st return with Manager Esquire safely in tow! Well, if I'm talking... A burning clock for it? When I was a child, I heard a story about a legendary saw case with the flaming head. Oh, would you like that visit our humble village? Well, their exterior may carry elements that inspire fear and so. No cause for alarm. Yeah, they might look like that, but they're Dante, our manager, and the rest are... Oh, hello. I'm sorry, who are you two? They're two very nice people who helped us find Dante. This is Miss Downey, leader of Rhodes Island. This is Mr. Crowley, their operator. They'll be coming along with us for a little while. Oh, with us? We believe that the dimensional door, which we at Rose Islands are investigating, has something to do with why you suddenly woke up here in Iberia. As Amil was bringing the sinners up to speed, the villagers who were staring at us curiously approached us. Did our conversation manage to convince them that we're not a threat? I sure hope so. You are friends of our saviors. Saviors? Very, 'tis quite the grand title. It does indeed what the word by which we were addressed. To be precise, by saviors, they are referring only to Faust and Otis. Faust gave me a light nod when we made eye contact, but I could tell their lips were drawing a very, very subtle smiling arc. As something did happen. They were quite mistrustful upon our initial arrival. What business do outsiders have here? What if they're from the Inquisition? I know what we do. Oh, after all we went through to get here. Calm yourselves, everyone. None of them are carrying what appears to be their scriptures or lamps. Let's first try to see who they are. And I don't think you're going to trust us anytime soon. They're all curmudgeons. That's STNC, then PTSD. You can't do that, real shit. We can't pillage your storage depots. So they already have it hard enough as is. I don't think STNC is a good way to get started either. Did we just find help anywhere? Elsewhere? Look how thin their arms are. Not the any shape to help us out. Perhaps we could inquire as to where our whereabouts as where we are to decide our lodging. The landscape is certainly reminiscent of you, Corpse. I don't recall seeing or learning about any place like this, so I can't say I've been to every corner of Ucorp. I'll ask again. What business do you want to have here? His fingers are tightening around the grips of the weapon. Prolonged silence will most likely turn us to a hostile encounter. We can't have that. We're from Limbus Company. We're fixers of justice! Yeah, I'll fix it. Don't you know when to keep it down? Fixes? That over there. Ship blueprint, isn't it? We can prepare a vessel by any chance. All these construction materials seem to suggest so. Chief, this does not concern you. It's not something me outside can understand. Curious, I've never seen an energy source like this before. Have you on the test where we learn any stability issues? It seems to power the heat exchanger via some method comparable to the utilization of fusion energy. Have you any thoughts on this, Miss Faust? The drone design structure is somewhat old-fashioned, but there certainly are inspired parts of the design, particularly with the usage of the core energy source. While stability would need to be further studied, this technology seems to be incredibly energy efficient. You identified all that merely by glancing at this blueprint. What's your village chief, then? So I have a proposition for you. In return for assisting the ship's repair, we were promised to ride on a vessel. Miss Faust has theorized that perhaps by going out to sea, we may be able to find a way to return to whence we came. that mean we can find a way back somewhere out there and see? Nothing is certain yet, Dante. At this moment, we are working based on a hunch. A hunch. Sensing the implicit omen in her choice of words, I slowly turned to look at Faust, who nodded solemnly in response. If we're really in a different word, even your Gesellschaft has to be. No issues were encountered during the repair process. Faust smiles faintly. She looks around and pulls me in by the hands. She whispers in a low voice. My connection to the Gesellschaft is currently operating at suboptimal level, Dante. So it's still connected, at least. Indeed it is. Every machines of simple information are taking up dozens of hours by current calculation. Is the warp train situation? Is we're in an entirely different dimension? The cause should be incidental. We have been connected to an unidentified, unpredictable dimension. However, Faust is aware that the pathway to our original dimension is yet to close this time, unlike the situation back aboard the warp train. Back to where we came from, indeed, driving through the pathway is the most feasible solution. I thought it came with the whole plan to repair the ship and sail out to sea? Yes. Well, I am also a genius, after all. And we can judge that we probably came through a dimensional door of sorts. Like the dimensional door might be what Faust is looking for. With high likelihood, yes. At least there's a way back. I found myself calming down a little. Doing which, when do you think you can wrap up the repair job? So what you should have it. The majority of the most time-consuming parts of repair have already been completed by the locals. Shouldn't take us more than a day or two to get its core parts ship-shape again, Executive Manager. I'm staying here more for a few days, then. How'd you manage last night? Well, like I said earlier, we've been keeping ourselves busy looking for you this whole time. Took turns helping with repairs and resting, but I doubt any of us got a proper night's rest. Still, we weren't cold thanks to the villagers who kept the fire going for all night. Not to mention how they helped us with a ton with that local math drew us. Oh, and also Chief handed us this earlier. What's it for? Took a sack to collect water. Give you right now how to get that installed. Must be paying Miss Faust and Miss Otis' effort to start repairing the ship, yet the service they provide is certainly quite generous, even when taking the transactional nature into account. Really give us the best treatment they can, huh? As for food, we managed to fill ourselves with some cookies and bread Roja keeps in her pockets. Didn't want to eat into their food supply when they're already pretty tight, you know? She carries enough cookies and bread for 12 people? I did offer some nauseous dried fish things, but refused. I ain't about taking food from the needy. No need to concern yourself so much with our hospitality. You have done more than enough to earn your keep. I turned around to look at the source of the low, rumbling voice. Saw an old man in an outfit that seemed to distinguish itself among the other villagers. There you are, Chief. Is there a place for us to stay the night? We do have places to shelter from the misty humidity, at the very least. There is an empty building there, so feel free to occupy it for the night. Sure. You don't mind sleeping in the streets myself. Speak for yourself. I've been quite looking forward to sleeping from the roof of my head since like yesterday. Catch a cold sleeping in the elements in this environment. Fine by me, but for the rest of you, it's fine by me for the rest of you, but we cannot afford to have the executive manager or honored guests suffer that fate. Honored guests? What happened from the four who left in search of the executive manager? I'd begin by imparting my infinite gratitude for your finding and requisitioning the executive manager. That you are a leader at a pharmaceutical company. This acquaintance shall certainly one day come in handy, in case our stay becomes significantly prolonged. I'm surprised by her boldness to say something so materialistic when they're standing right there. Can I stay in your village too, Chief? The old chief took a brief glance at the hems by her right wrist, then nodded. Welcome to Valmorato. You're welcome to stay for as long as you want. And please, do let me know if you find yourself without food. Food supply might be tight indeed, but we have enough to share with those who help repair the vessel. You better not go back anywhere later. I wonder what kind of local delicacies await. Dried fish like they were eating earlier, maybe? Hey, Chief. What is it? So how you're surviving out here by the sea? Perhaps the question of how we are surviving might be somewhat misdirected. But we're only pursuing every possible avenue because we must survive. The Chief responds to Scotty's perceived hostility with a hearty smile. After leaving some firewood for the night, he left. I'm going. Can't learn much more from here. You're going somewhere at this hour? Scotty, does this have something to do with the coast? Remember what you said about before we got to the village, something about how coasts are hardly good places to live in. Dante wants to know if this has something to do with the coast. You. Do you understand the Aegir language? Aegir language? No. Dante, Scotty just spoke in Aegirian. I couldn't understand a word of Scotty in the Chief's conversation between us that don't speak Aegirian. Maybe only that there were enough lexical similarities between one of the city's languages and the language Scotty spoken for them to comprehend the meaning. Mere coincidence. Anyway, I have some things to look into. Something you're all too slow to see. You'll have to tell us about it later. Please remember you're not on a solo mission, Scotty. It's a team effort from Rhodes Island. Will do. Scotty nodded lightly before leaping off into the night out of our sights. I'm kind of worried. She's not the best with people, but she's also pretty thoughtful. She'll be okay. Should we get inside? The sun's already starting to set. Yeah, we could probably just pick an unlit building and stay the night there, right? Trying our best to ignore the mood that was starting to turn awkward, we made our way into a nearby unoccupied building. I'll get into some story time when we don't have story. Next time we get into combat, which there's a decent chunk of just non-combat story encounters in the collab. We walked past a few narrow buildings and remnants of narrow buildings before we came across a hall large enough to house all 15 or so of us. Okay, now we're ready. With the curtains on the window removed, the smoke has an exit. I thought we were doomed to shut ourselves and sleep with soaking wet firewood and all. I have no idea that'd work. We have to get a small fire going underneath until the wood dries up and catches fire. The downside of being on the smoke. So let's share some field experience, unlike some fools I know. I shan't sit here and let you carry the burden of labor alone. Bequeath upon me thine ingredients, living Rodian, for I shall conjure thee a pot of special fixer soup. You're making soup with cookies and jelly? No, you're not getting anywhere near the kitchen again. Not everybody cooked up last time. I must admit to a certain level of interest. The nearby fellows' viscera are oft racked with intense agony upon ingesting dishes of your making. Perhaps it would be wiser that we save the occasion for a safer environment. Right, don't you remember? We agreed to leave cooking to Mirror Odie if we were ever in a situation like this, remember? Did we? I think it kind of became an unspoken rule after everything that happened. Remember, back during last year's cooking contest at Gay Corp, there were only 2 people who managed to get even remotely positive reviews. Does that mean we'll get to try Otis' cooking once again? Denied. So plenty of high-calorie foods like cookies and jelly here. If I know reason to do something so inefficient. I'm glad to see everyone's still energetic, given the circumstances. It can't be easy to suddenly wake up in an unfamiliar environment. I'm not quite used to getting thrown into unfamiliar places. Speaking of which, did you manage to reach your colleagues, Amia? She shook her head, concerned. They might have lost their comm devices, or maybe they're in some other trouble. Could they be in danger? I don't know, but I'm sure they're okay. The doctor, Dr. Kaltsit, they're both more capable than enough to look after themselves. Long have this curiosity linger within me, and thus allow me to inquire. Corporations are, by their nature, organizations in pursuit of profit. Yet the activities of your corporation resemble those of charity organizations as opposed to a pharmaceutical company. Is there aught that might explicate this clear distinction? I want to know, too. How come a pharmaceutical company like Rhodes Island's helping people? Think about what Honglu said brings back unpleasant memories. Okay, just skipped a couple lines for Canto 8 reasons. Yeah. There are many in Terra who are suffering from a disease. The disease crystallizes you, spreads deeper and deeper into the infected's internal organs, eventually culminating in their death. It's called neuropathy. Amia showed the back of her right hand, dotted by what appears to be obsidian crystallizations. Its appearance reminded with biotreatments from backstreets, but there was something more to it. Something more restless, more sinister. It's a terrible, painful disease, but there have many recorded cases of full recovery. It's an even worse problem. Pray tell, what could possibly be worse than an incurable deadly disease? Well, it varies by region. Discrimination against the affected is widespread across Terra. Those who suffer from what's faced unfair treatment. You saw him began with a dark expression. Some are quarantined in place with terrible, inhumane conditions, and there have been massacres, too. I mean to be callous, but is neuropathy highly contagious? No. There have not been any recorded cases of infection by contact, so long as the subjects are alive. When the infected die, the crystal worlds on their body decay and turn to dust, scattering, which is what spreads the plague. Barring environments like active battlefields, where casualties to be expected, staying within close proximity of the infected in daily life hardly seems to pose any risk. So what's the problem then? I already passed the point of caring what the problem is. People start feeling iffy, all logic goes out the window. Then Rhodes Island's goal has to be, yes, it's important to develop a cure for neuropathy, but I think what really matters is that we change the circumstances for the better for the infected. That's not going to be an easy endeavor. No, that is what gives your effort more meaning. I hope you can achieve that goal, Amia. Really do. For truth! Yes, well, yeah, we both live in world's full of surprises, don't we? What kind of world did you come from, this city? What kind of place is the city, anyway? The kind of place with too many pointless rules? The kind of place where the moment you think, isn't this too much, you see something even worse? Spoiler for one of the upcoming intervalos. Try as I might, I couldn't think of a single positive thing about the city. The sinners seem to be in agreement, as most of what came after was quite scathing. Kind of place where good deeds really ever go unpunished. Something's a good attitude to have if you like getting stabbed in the back. Nothing good ever works out there. Shite-hole. It's an irrational place full of absurdities. Absurdities in only presence. Therefore, is not a subject by which one should be aggrieved. We can at least grouse about them, though. I mean, it's the only thing we can do. We're more correct to experience more and acclimatize oneself to it instead of complaining. You did say something like that last time. Just the mood was starting to turn rather dour. Don Quixote shouted through the awkwardness. Verily, never doth the day go untarnished by villains in their fell deeds. Yet worry they not where evil ariseth, so the fixers of justice too. Don Quixote jumped from her seat, passionately shook her fist, which was followed by a heavy crack and the sound of small pebbles tumbling down. Don Quixote, watch out! And from behind the wall, she accidentally broke down. An unfamiliar visage of a villager appeared and stared back at Don Quixote. It appeared that she was eating something out of a can while reading a book. How farest thou? Farest thy foot? You gotta apologize first. Seems it's hard to awkward today. Apologies for how they expected the wall to crumble with such ease. Have there unhurt? Any injuries? Eh? Pray tell to what? Forget the apology. I just want to know what happens next. The fix the justice for that to do what? Hast thou come to hear the tale of fixes? I don't know about coming to us, given Miss Don Quixote was the one who punched the wall down. Oh, it's too late now. I don't mind waiting till morning if you want to sleep. Nay, not at all. It's quite earlier now with the tales, in fact. Prithee, seat thyself here. Give no fool. Calm down, we know who she is. Don't you forget to share those fixers' tales over there in the corner not to disturb our sleep. That'll make his request more untenable. These tales deserve to be announced to the world in a great gusto from the center. You don't express where you get on stories. We should probably introduce ourselves to each other first. Name's Myers. I'm, how should I put this? Meet the village chief earlier during the day. He's my gramps. Alright, nice guy. And granddaughter. Yet I've not seen you once, Miss Myers, under the sun. You're right. I'm the village completely dried of any young blood. Like Rook has said, while we didn't see Myers out there, there wasn't anyone else in the village we could comfortably call young. You're telling me? Gosh, is worrying for nothing. Told me to stay put inside. Going on and on about all the dangers of the outsiders pose and everything. It seems they don't make you full faith to their saviors. The things you cannot share with whom you trust with your life, though I would not know why. Is there a bunch of other kids who are stuck into this village? No? Is there anyone around my age in the village after all? If that's the case, then I guess I can understand why you'd be overprotective. Doctor, I'm good. I heard enough to get an idea. You did? Pray, how dost thou hear us? Via listening device, most secret part of our chamber? Maris tapped the side of the wall, the part that was still standing anyway, and smiled ironically. Found sounding very fun. I could hear pretty much everything at Don Quixote, right? And everything Don Quixote practically sang during the day. Very, I see. Well, you with some embarrassment for once. I guess that's good enough for self-introduction, so... Can't you get me with the tale of fixers who bring evil to the justice of the evils of the city? Indubitably, then, this shall do. I shall regale you with the tale in which the legendary fixer, the ultra magnificence herself, the redness, I suppose I killed any hope for good night's skip. Yet, don't you usually pass out with an amount of your back hitting the hay no matter how noisy things are? What? Take for some hard night bath or something? Look, even I'll have trouble sleeping this noise all of it. Say barren hibernation's a pretty apt description. Well, like grumbling and moaning, he dozed off before any of us did. Aside from Heathcliff, who began snoring the moment his head touched the ground, some of the retainers were fast asleep as well. Marcel had entered sleep in his usual steadfast adherence to the routine, while Faust laid claim to one of the few available cloth sheets as soon as the close of business for the day was confirmed. The sinners, who had spent the entire last night searching for me in this unfamiliar land, slowly began to fall asleep as well. Meanwhile, the fix of the Zwei Association South's first section. Though the night was no longer young, Don Quixote was still vigorously sharing the tales of adventure without even a single sign of fatigue. She's not determined to do this until sunrise, is she? Oh, I guess it's okay, since Mare seems to be having fun. As I continued to watch the pair of some mild concern, not yet sleep approached me. This city Miss Don Quixote speaks of. Didn't we fix the justice and exhilarating tales of adventure? You actually experienced all of them yourself? No, of course not. Don Quixote starts the usual list of other famous people. She's telling with such a vigor that it almost seems like she was there herself. I guess. If you really want to get into it, some of them might be retellings of Don Quixote's personal experiences. Ishmael replied uncertainly, thinking back to the plays we made to watch back in La Mancha Land. Well, I think all the stories, even though they're unpartially true, just go to show what a ridiculous place it can be. We wouldn't need fix the just to begin with if we really lived in a just world, right? A really good place to live would be quiet and peaceful without someone having to force it. That's true. I hope there'll come a day when Rose Island can be a normal pharmaceutical company in the future. Something wrong? I just thought Miss Mares and I made eye contact. Did you overhear a conversation? Looked your direction, but all I saw was Mares excitedly reacting to Don Quixote's tales. What happened then? The spoke Lady Otis boldly before the soldiers stood in our path. Thou presumest to stand in our path, servants of our master most unworthy. I, Otis, shall educate you on how manner mythic. Don Quixote was now retelling stories of Limbus Company's adventures in Honyuan, and Otis, who could no longer stand Don Quixote's unintentional alterations of the story, jumped to her feet and shouted, "Damn, what kind of nonsense you're feeding her? Never said anything like that. Really, certain aspects of this retelling may have been exaggerated. Is that the tales of adventure for you? Things bound to get bedrawn and the story's still realistically and as is, right? You know, nothing. Not even anything resembling a proper record or book once remain once the profound silence swept through this village. Suppose I'd have craving for these kind of stories. But Iberia doesn't stop Iberians from emigrating, contrary to their tight immigration control. Ever thought about leaving this place? It's not a challenge to cross the border, especially if we're going to have to pass through larger cities that are managed by the Inquisition. You seem particularly fond of this Inquisition. What's that? So this village was formed by people who grew tired of living under the Inquisition's rule and fled. What kind of organization is this Inquisition? Sinclair asked, face turned cold upon hearing the word Inquisition and that people fled from it. Yeah, the Nuggle and Hammer we saw back at Call are the kind of memories that are so easily forgotten. Who interrupted calls it? The Inquisition is what filled the power vacuum once Iberia fell into chaos. Its inquisitors are the rapier and lamp-wielding protectors of Iberia's cities from lawlessness. That alone kind of makes them sound like good people, though. They are, but it's Church of the Deep. The Inquisition will go to whatever the lengths the Oathens said is really that church that worships Saborn. Fie! An Inquisition that worships these monsters! Seems as if cult of finesse would plague wherever we go. I feel like people with all kinds of wrong faiths and beliefs are so common. Saborns are the ones who managed to start Iberia up, so following their logic, apparently it's okay for them to arrest anyone who seems remotely connected to them. I think Iberia is like this because of the Seaborns. Things familiar? Those are kind of troublesome to deal with, but they didn't seem that strong. Anyway, it's just what I heard from the Gramps, but the Inquisition executed many innocent people too in their crusade against the Church of the Deep. For those who claim to be on the side of justice, they seem quite fond of committing such villainy. Like a reasonable policy decision to be, but must pose a clear danger to the daily life of civilians. Yeah, heard I was the only survivor. Everyone in the family died. Just if I had to endure such a long period of pain, to be able to say something like that with such composure. For Iberia, there are heirs who bring out the lands where glory dice. The Grumps, they're just oppressors making this life difficult. So we've all come here, fleeing from the Inquisition skies. Yet wherefore hast thou decided to settle in a place such as so run down? Indeed. Yeah, I know. It's not so bad once you get used to it. Besides, I should find a new path thanks to you guys. New path? It's getting late. We'll be preparing the ship tomorrow too. This place really has no soundproofing at all, huh? Good talk, everyone. I'm gonna get another chance to do this tomorrow too. After seeing Maris to her own room, the other sinners, those who were still up anyway, and I laid ourselves in the hard stone floor with only a thin layer of cloth between it and our backs. A mysterious world that's neither city nor the outskirts. It seemed the lives of its people were just as difficult as they were anywhere else. See, what we need next is the Uma Musume collab. We already have it with Wei Song. Or Haisho Yi Song. I'm gonna say that all the time, don't worry. Make sure we got everyone. What do we have for level up stuff? Again, it's been a hot minute since I last played. On this account, I should say. Specify, rather. And again, I'll get into detail about that in a bit. Here, let's get Firefist Gregor up to 55. Thumb or So up to 55. Wild Hunt up to 55, and then we're not going to be able to get Solament up that high, but that's still not bad. It's still 10 solid enough sinners. Like if I need more, then I can just, I can just borrow one. Grab you. That should be fine. And I'll get into details about stuff. It's so big. Amazing. And know the remaining vessels of this class in Iberia. I spot a name here. 'Tis called the name Rebellion de las Masas. Rebellion de las Masas. Revolt of the Masses, is it? A name very much mired in peculiarity indeed. Julio chimed in that he was rather fond of it, with its size being about the same as the boat from his home, while Ishmael quickly jumped into correctness that its size alone wasn't anything special with the Great Lake, but it was still pretty big compared to Mephir, the Indigo Elder skiff. I thought it was going to be around somewhere on Mephi's side at most. Are you sure you can get the ship fixed in a day or two? To be fair, yes, the great majority of the time-consuming repairs had already been completed by the villagers. She said if our repair efforts only concerned a few components within the vessel the villagers cannot repair, which shouldn't take as much time. Most parts that are unfamiliar to Faust are also malfunctioning, such as the core engine. Many repairs should be sufficiently managed by Faust. Despite O's confident declaration, I could not help but feel oddly unsettled as I looked at the ship. I don't know why, but something tells me they don't want to linger too long for here. Still, please be thorough about it just in case. I'd rather not send on a sinking ship again. Experience with the Great Lake was enough. You're not worried, Dante. Like Mephistopheles, most functions of this vessel, buoyancy gear, propellers, steering gear, are all in operational capacity. The repair should be much easier than the case with Mephistopheles. So you're confident enough? You're safe this time around, right? You think they were up to climb up the ship? There's a lift-like apparatus down here. She gets to the ship. Its ability was verified yesterday. Let us board the lift. You're 100% certain, right? The boat is afloat right now, Dante. I don't think it'll be sink anytime soon. Wouldn't that be nice? Oi, you're just gonna faff about, don't you? Up no. I'm down with you. When I went to the vessel's bridge, I was greeted by the extravagant interior that was as gaudy as the exterior. It's real gold, isn't it? Sure as shiny as heck in here. Got butterflies in my stomachs. Yes. Aesthetically satisfying, she says. But too ostentatious. Not quite my style. Oh, young Mephi is also quite the excellent vessel. You have to imagine the adventures we can embark aboard this vessel, most lavishly decorated. As Faust and Oz were working on one of the control panels, Ishmael walked up to another and interfaced with it before giving a knowing nod. So an investigative research vessel of sorts, but it does seem a bit extravagant for one of those, though. The coordinates, updating in real time, it seems. But it seemed to have been somewhere out in the middle of the ocean. It points to a small islet. No islet there. Oh! Blimey, lost! You don't know how to sneak up on people. Matters? Well, I should surprise you. I did ask if you guys were going to come fix the boat today. I didn't know you'd be here. What are the coordinates such at this location? Several others say that it's beneath these coordinates. Because he knows I hear. Gramps is on. I see. Understood. What was understood, if I may ask? It's not understood why the promise to repair the ship is sufficient to earn their trust and the title of saviors. What's she on about? It's only get translating. Consolidating cross-referencing the observed particular circumstances of the village and the statements from the village chief alongside information garnered from the exchange with the mayors to help gauge at the significance of the ship's repairs has to the local populace. Now, of course, while this might constitute a sequence of logical connections that poses a certain challenge for Heathcliff to comprehend, to employ any degree of effort to attempt to explain in more digestible language would constitute a pursuit of inefficiency. Lower the baton, I implore you, I shall explain in full. So when Miss Smart start going like that again, what's she on about? Heathcliff's shoulders relaxed. It seems like we were actually going to swing the bat. Placed it lightly over her shoulder with a sigh. A brief observation of the village seems to suggest that their subsistence situation is quite dire. Much of the daily sustenance consisted of dried food, most of them made up for long-term storage purposes. So what Scotty said about how the coastal areas are full of danger, maybe there's dried seafood aren't firm around here either. Maybe it's food they packed when they first came to Far Muerto. Some villages were armed, yeah, and those sea terrors weren't exactly formidable, but given to say the villagers are in, I doubt they'd have an easy time repelling those monsters. Indeed. That brings us to the question of sustenance. I get what's going on here. Last time my granddad about to visit their hometown, they're trying to get some food supplies from there to feed the villagers, and to convince them, plan to use the fact that this farm is staying next to the woods. Say, I suppose. No, so not just repairing the ship, but we're repairing their food supply plan too. What's wrong? Well, expressions were rather crude. Heathcliff's summary of the situation was clear, to the point, and easily understood. Stitter stared at him with mild surprise. And I did too. What's with them annoying looks? Oh, she's swords! You don't think I'm not doing well, do you? Top-notch intuition. It's been a while since you've shown this side of yourself. Thinking back, Heathcliff's intuition has always been excellent, and he'd often put together surprisingly accurate conclusions with impressive speed. You know, when you really think about it, it's kind of your fault for often too solving you lately, have I? Oh wait, get back here! Well, those fools out of the conversation, was he correct? I was looks away from the usual chaos and asked the mayors. Oh, I'm surprised. Some point? Yeah, afraid we're alone in the village. That's right, we'll last another year. But they are, well, I'm sure they'll welcome us with open arms. I don't want to come like I'm overly worried, but do you think they'll welcome the others too? Like Mayor's the chief, they're not higher. I believe they will. Javier suspects I'm hasty out here for another reason than from the sea, but I'm following solos to a abandoned group of starving land dwellers. Prithee, might thou explain to us who the Ayer are? I don't actually thought to be a reference to a region, it also seems to refer to an affiliation of sorts. Maybe there's something like nest dwellers. Though I don't think I've heard of a nest that accepts backstreets people with open arms. Maybe there used to be some rich folk? Well, nest of Sawyer, yeah? I'm a big rabbit here last Sawyer too. Wait, in the world you came from, do they not distinguish between races? That's not entirely true. Delineation between races is a concept that does exist. though I only... Alright, another line that I cut up for Canto 8 reasons. I do remember last time mentioning that there would be a line that I cut. It was that one. The one previously, technically, I would have been okay with not cutting, but that one for sure. However, as a general rule, it can be said that humans should be the only intelligent life forms in the city. People of Tatra have slightly varying appearances depending on the race, like my codicers. I've got ears because I'm an Iyer. It's not characteristic every Iyer shares. Close to idea to what they're discussing appears to be, Don't care to see the strongly finish her sentence. Marcel Septon continues. Context clues in the manner of word usage, including the means of classification. Close to the example in our world would be blood fiends. Similar external appearance to humans, different natures, comparable sapiens. 'Tis of my belief that blood fiends are ostracized due to their nature that make it coexistence with humans difficult. And maybe that the Iyer are also. Sure, some do possess qualities that make coexistence with others difficult, but they're probably rare. Then wherefore they made subjects suspicion and hatred? That's new, but the idea is how pretty familiar to city folk like us. Thinking about this, the fallen wing. Kids born in the back streets. People place their bodies barbed with prosthetics. The form differs, yet in its essence we find the thread. Something about how we keep finding simulators in the way of lives. Despite finding ourselves in a distant world with different rules, races, humans, felt oddly discomforting. Point is, you guys are doing this real assault. I fixed up the ship. Let's move on with these gloom conversations, okay? Shoot the cooler parts of the ship this way. The ship to it may have to wait. The repairs are almost complete, but an issue has arisen. Issue? It's not reassuring at all. Multiple life forms identified ahead. So we sea terror horde. Ship's radar systems suggest that the vessel is surrounded. Same monsters from yesterday. Jacob Major, please orders to prepare for battle. Sea terrors you encountered? A bit different, but yeah, probably. A lot of them, but life experience tells us anything. Should be able to handle this. I'm gonna please support us in battle like you did yesterday. Can't stop fighting, young Maz. I feel like we're just gonna get in you, eh? You guys find a place to keep Maris as far from the battle. Let's hurry down there. We're not damaging the ship any further. Alright. So, I'm recording this, since I'm recording this, I haven't actually uploaded episode 100 yet. Just because fucking mental health, man. So part of it is just, you know, I do in my spare time, I do a lot of theater stuff, and you know, like that stuff is very fun. I very much do enjoy it. Even with me being someone that has like really bad social anxiety, in terms of like approaching people, like on stage, never had a problem. Talking on YouTube, never had a problem. And you know, while that time in doing theater stuff is, of course, really nice because, you know, all the people that I've worked with in, you know, in the community theater have been, you know, they've been great people. They're, you know, super nice. They're fun to talk to, all that stuff. You know, there's still the stress of, you know, I do have that social anxiety. I do have that problem where I'm not always going to be, you know, fully at the level that, you know, it's just fine that I'm talking with that. So, you know, you have the burnout from that a little bit. You have just the actual show themselves. The past month has been, you know, the wind down time, getting to the end of the show. So, you know, we have rehearsals every day for about 5 hours. And really the big thing, during that time, you know, during the time that we do have all of the, like during all the time that I'm doing theater stuff, so all that community theater, it's in the evenings, and the job I work is second shift. So for pretty much the entirety of that month or so, I wasn't working. And if you couldn't guess by the fact that I'm playing a gacha game, I'm not exactly good with money. So, you compound the stress of being in a social area, you compound the stress of, you know, being in a, you know, a live theater show. You add on not having money with that. It's a lot of stuff, and I just, like, never quite could put my heart into recording. Like it just never felt like something that I could do to a level where I wasn't unhappy with myself for it. Also, that battle was way shorter than I expected. So, yeah, there's just been a lot of stress that I've been going under, and you know, it's led to the point where I'm very close. I'm recording this on the 18th, and it's not very long. The way I read it, I'm recording this on Saturday, and the event ends on Wednesday. So I don't want to miss out on, like, if I wasn't first of all, if I wasn't recording, then we'd have, you know, I'd be fine with, you know, missing out on this. But let's just go right into battle. If it wasn't recording, then, you know, I'd be, well, first of all, I wouldn't have this account, which would, you know, that's already something that, you know, helps out with the less stress. Well, kind of. I do very much. I do enjoy recording most of the time, but it's just, you know, been having all the stress stuff. But where was I? Oh, but like I'd be fine with not finishing up the story and just getting what was necessary for the Scotty ego. And it moves on to another point. So again, you know, I already have the bad, you know, the bad mindset with money. But even worse is that I got both ends of the recording luck. So obviously, you know, for this account, I got fucking amazing luck. You know, I pull all three within 60 pulls. My main account, I did not pull a single one. I had to pity for all three. And with me already being, already being bad with money, 2, wanting to be a completionist in that sense, and 3, just bad luck in general. So, in terms of my fucked up brain, I was really like stuck between a rock and a hard place, where either I missed out on this content for, you know, all this time, and, you know, as it gets closer to the time where you no longer have the event going on, where you no longer have the collab going on, or I don't have money. And I kind of just decided that I would rather get the stuff, because, like, I do very much think that my parents are very lenient with my horrible financial intelligence, because, you know, they've really helped me kind of keep myself afloat on my terrible journey. Of course, I will have to owe them back. Don't get me wrong, and not, you know, I would feel especially bad if I was never expected to pay them back. So, you know, I am quite far behind on, you know, on that end, but again, having a while where I wasn't working, not helpful for any respect. Luckily, weird to say, luckily I've had a couple times I was called into work earlier in the week. And I've also started doing substitute teaching for, you know, some way to get money when I'm not, you know, in, like when I'm not able to do theater stuff, or just in general, really, or when I'm not able to do my normal job. But, you know, it helps out, of course, to have the capability to get money. And that's continuing on, but that's kind of just the general gist of why there's been like 3 weeks since the last episode was uploaded. The main entities have all turned at sea. Is everyone okay? There's just a last skirmish. Sea tears out surrounding the ship, returned to the seaport. The battle came to an end. She felt too orderly and deliberate to just be running away. With making a tactical retreat. Doing peachy, but what about the ship? How is the ship okay? Minor damages of the hull, but nothing will impede the ship's operational capabilities. I noticed during the battle, I might be wrong, of course, but I noticed how at the end of the battle, the monster started to go after the manager. You're probably right, actually. I noticed too, at some point during our battle, those monsters realized it's the manager who's commanding the rest of us. I sense the very same. We moved with fluid and adaptiveness, though they're learning our behavior. Why are the trip to the deep worship monsters like them? Not much of a question, isn't it? They must have all gone mental. I'm sure there are many reasons, but sea monsters are beings of infinite potential. So much so that there's no superlative big enough to properly convey the scale. As organisms, they can endlessly evolve and adapt. Every time they can encounter a new environment, a new element, they transform themselves into other seaborn. Maybe that's their job. Fascination may be an attitude most befitting a researcher, yet transformation from fascination into idolatry is, if I may be frank, not entirely positive. I find them pretty uncomfortable. They just remind me of whales. Then can they learn to adapt to learn a language to communicate with us? What? Done by everything we heard, I think they sound really smart. Bear's eyes went around at Hong Liu's suggestion. She brought her hands to her mouth, surprised. Sure was something. I heard there were seaborn who could talk. Non-humans speak the language of humans, regardless of a testament to their intelligence. I can only think of two possibilities as to why they would. One, to communicate with other humans. The other, to deceive humans. More often than not, it's the latter. Oh, distortions. Some of them already know how to speak. Distortions are different on which humans transform into some monstrous forms, first observed after the White Nights and Dark Days incident. Therefore, that example is relevant to Otis' supposition. White Nights and Dark Days? She whispered quietly, but as we were standing rather close to her, we all caught on to the hint of joy in her voice. A pillar of light in the city? Really? How have you come across the snow ship bears? That's... And all of this, we've got the couple right here. Storyteller last has been gathering with no end. I'm talking non-stop all morning about all kinds of stories, hasn't she? You'd have not gotten the you again, so you didn't get so lost in stories that you blabbed all about our company's secrets, have you? Nay, fire simply would not! It's not care to be subject to yet another round of scolding on me as stared out toward the sea, where the sea terrors might start crawling to the surface once again before turning toward us. I wonder which the seaborn are. His sense of self is really, really faint, so I don't think we'd be in either category. I think it's possible that they learn human language that demonstrate that the power of speech might help them survive. Because that humans may also quite the expert the subject seaborns. Knowledge of them goes beyond what fear of one's survival may yield, thereby suggesting a different means of acquisition. Do you by chance worship seaborns? I don't worship seaborns. Seaborns don't have any hopes or wishes, just a desire for survival. Miss Mayers, does that mean if seaborns were somehow able to hope? Maybe so? Is that so? Their prayers are complete. As we're conversing, Faust descended from the ship with a neatly organized set of tools borrowed from the village, repairs completed. I'm guessing repairs are done? Yes, the ship is ready to set sail. You have a departure time and date in mind. Prefer if you depart as soon as possible. I don't have a set time or anything. I think we should be able to set sail this late afternoon at the earliest. That's soon? The scene, we don't have a lot to bring with us. By the way, how far out to sea do you guys need to go? That's a dimensional door of sorts. Actually, the dimensional door is light from the beach at night. It looks faint, but given how the light's strong enough to break through the sea fog, we should be able to determine its location somewhere around the coastal waters. Go back to know it. Our sort of business is to relay this news to the villagers. Back to the village for now. The nice thing about luck is that I'm not gonna, I'm especially not worried about, I'm especially not worried about getting the Strata Ego. We'll be fine on that. Just to feel the dopamine, we're gonna do 2 10 pulls because we can. She-Faust is... It's an ID. I actually don't have it yet on my main, but, I just need a few more shards for it. I do not need much. And we'll do 1 Lunacy pull as well. When I log in tomorrow, I'll be able to get the guaranteed 3-star ticket. That's how behind I've been on this account. I've been logging in every day on my main account, but not on this one. Yeah, we'll go to 50. It's a nice round number. What do we got? Well, I mean, it's nice to have it. Just would have liked it before Kanto 7. I love Manager Don. Manager Don is... I mentioned this before. I Yeah, no, I know I mentioned this before, but Manager Don is my favorite ID to play with. It's also fucking dense, because it has 8 skills, depending on how many of the Blood Fiends you have, which we only have 2. We also have Barber. We don't have Priest, right? We do have Priest. I think Priest was a guaranteed 5-star, right? 3-star, whatever. So we're just missing Priestess. Or Princess, rather. Which, like, I do like Princess. I don't know. Like, the thing is, I do know for sure that Manager Don is my favorite ID. But I don't know how I would rank the rest of the Modulan team. Because I do like all of them for different reasons. I'll quick go for the abilities because I'm very intimately familiar with all of them. The skill 1 is a pretty basic one. It's just a little bit of extra bleed. And some healing. I mean, all of them do healing, but the big thing is it's kind of your main way to get the hard blood status. The skill 1 is by far the weakest. Arguably, the counter is something you like always want to use. The skill 2 is it ends up doing AoE. At high enough hard blood, it will gain attack weight. It can gain up to 3 attack weight, I want to say, at Uptype 5. Uptype 4, fucking hell, man, I'm way behind. But yeah, Uptype 4, I believe it can get up to 4 attack weight. It's really good. The skill 3 is just fucking insane. It's just a massive nuke that rolls super high. Again, I mentioned this before, I believe, since Sancho Hardblood Arts La Sangra, I believe that can roll up to a 29 or so. It's really nice. The defense I don't use as much as I should. The defense is quite good. The big thing, it gives the Shimmering Blood Fiend status. The problem is that it's not really, like, it's weird, because they have, like it's max attack 50, but you don't really get that much. It's some shield, it's a little bit of bleed count. The thing with all the Blood Fiends, they do inflict bleed on themselves, so they can always gain Blood Feast. But especially if you're using Laughter Shall Subside, that can really spiral out of control. That said, there are actually certain situations, again, I speak mainly in the Mirror Dungeon context, that if you just, like, spam the counter, because you only take bleed damage from attacks, so yeah. I'm very happy to have Manager Don. Again, I'm probably not going to use her too terribly much until I have Princess. And actually probably the upcoming Rousseau, too. That'll be interesting. But regardless, that will do it for this time. Next time, we will continue with the Pilgrimage of Compassion. I'm going to guess 4 more episodes for this. It does... 3. Yeah, 3 more episodes after this. Is what I'm going to guess. There's one very tough boss fight, and then a mirror dungeon at the end of this. A dungeon at the end of this, so... yeah. That will do it for this time, and yeah, next time we continue on. But until then, see you guys later.